Okay, now we can come to the specific things, the philosophical, or we can say the seeker part. That what is Advaita Vedanta? So the Advaita Vedanta says that Advaita means what?
Non-dual,
Not
basically. Yes.
Non-dual means not two.
Not two.
So
Yeah.
any distinction, Advaita Vedanta denies any distinction in the world. You are getting it? They say that everything is only one entity.
But how can that be possible? Because we see different things around us. So
our sense organ does not give us the objective reality of it. The way you can understand this is from the scientific point of view is everything is made, if you are materialist, everything is made up of atoms. Right? Atoms are made up of
elementary particles, basically. Yeah, more elementary particles.
Particles are even also made up of what? Quarks and stuff.
Quarks, yes.
Yeah. So everything just is an arrangement of these fundamental particles. Right? So, and these fundamental particles also come from energy. If you go from non-physical to energy, they come from energy. It means that is not denied also. Okay. So can't you see it is one whole? It is one whole rather than there being any two. It is one whole.
So basically, what you are trying to say is that keep breaking things. So at the end, everything will fuse into that one entity. That's what you are mentioning in a way, because if I talk from the scientific perspective, if we start breaking down everything to the smallest entity possible, so we would reach one common point. Is that what you're trying to refer?
That is the thing I'm trying to refer, but in a very different.
Okay.
What we are doing is, because we have limitations, we have access to reality on levels. This is one level of reality. The atomic level is one level of reality, the electronic. But I am saying, if there were no humans, will there be levels of reality, or will there be only one reality? There will be something real, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. But will it have levels? Our levels are for our own convenience.
Okay, now I am getting it. So basically you are saying that, okay, if we remove any kind of observer, it is only one thing, because the levels go away.
The levels go away. It in fact, the very idea of self you are having as something in your body or something in life is creating that duality of subject and object.
Yes. Okay.
And from that point of view, the whole misery is starting. Why and how does the experience of this give you salvation? Suppose the things you wanted. Now you know you are one with that things. How would you want something which you already have? And how would you lose something which you already have? You have found salvation in something. And even then, how would you die? You die, you say, is there something missing from the whole of the world when you die?
Yeah.
No. If you break it down, is there something coming into the whole of the world when you are born?
No.
No. We are talking in very scientific, because I don't want to give any room for you're getting it, the pseudoscience and stuff.
No, definitely. In fact, the kind of clarity you have about these things, I can say it with complete firmness and authority that very few people have this clarity, and this needs to come out. It's not because you are my friend or we interact about meaningful stuff. It's because this is amazing. I am learning a lot. I'm learning like a student because we did not have in-depth conversation about these topics earlier. So this is mind-blowing, seriously. What people say spirituality is, what people propagate about different things, it's completely nonsensical if I have to be crude and raw, right? So thanks a lot, Sumedh, for this. Yeah, please carry forward. Yeah.
It is concerned with suffering, okay, and it is concerned with eradication of suffering. Other than that, I'm trying not to give anything. but then it will be a very dry conversation. So it's not like that you cannot bring your own creation and interpretation and this stuff, but you have to keep in back of the mind that everything that you are creating will be false. It can be for your entertainment, it can be for your people entertainments, or it can be like you want to explain people. Now people are interested in movies, so I'll explain it through movies and stuff like that. I'll explain it to you in a very mystical. Okay, that things are there. There is a literature, there is immense literature of, there is a chakra, and there is that horoscopes are there, this and that, this and that. These things are there. The problem occurs when people start to take these things very much out of context. Getting?
Yeah.
There is a way of interpretation in which you will get to see that means they deny from the beginning. They start, okay, this is very great method, 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 and at the end say no method is great, denying our method. So they build up the whole thing, okay, for some reasons. I'll talk about this build up when we'll talk about meditations, but right now I'm talking about philosophy. Okay? So Advaita Vedanta is like that. Okay, there are no two things, everything is Brahman. And what is not allowing you to see this reality? That there are no distinction at any levels of reality. Okay. And
this
obviously,
world? This world?
Ignorance.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Ignorance. Sense organs, like I said, does not reveal the reality of the world. No scientific model even reveals the reality of world. Okay. Nothing reveals the reality of world. And there is some kind of primal ignorance in which we have, in which what we do is we assign objects boundary. Like when I say this book or that person, you start to think of them as some independent entities. That this book, now it has boundaries, stuff like that. So there is a primal, you can say, ignorance in it, in which we categorize things. Okay.
Yeah.
And we assume that categorization is not for a utilitarian point of view for survival, but rather it is real.
Wow.
Okay.
Yes.
As soon as on some level of reality it is being experienced that there is no categorization. Okay, like Tao Te Ching puts it like being and non-being produce each other. Buddhism, when we come to Buddhism, you will get it very clearly. But now I'm from Advaita Vedanta, okay, from the Upanishad. Then what happens is, as the time goes on, okay, so the consequence of Advaita Vedanta is like one statement is Aham Brahmasmi, I am the God. Or like Mansurullah said that, or Jesus said like he's son of the God. I think it was the same thing, but my perspective, okay, my subjective perspective, it was the same thing, but then people changed it. I think that. And when Mansur said that Anal Haq, he also said that I am God and stuff. Yes. So the one consequence of this was this. But now what happened? People can again, what they can do about this? They will use it for very means you can very sinister reasons, and the whole thing will get corrupted. So as the things got corrupted, other people came. Okay, they have to revise the model. Okay, not that there is an absolute model. Okay, so from Advaita there came Vishista. Okay. So what did Vishista means? Vishista means the Advaita which is set apart from the Advaita which we have previously. Something Vishista is there, something specific is not given, not everything. So it was from Ramayana. Okay. See, the Shankara's Advaita, the Brahman is Nirgun. It does not have any attributes. So it is not like your judge. Like we say, that the Western concept of God is like he's the judge. The Advaitic concept of God is not like a judge. You're getting it?
Yeah.
It is, the Brahman is the entirety of the universe with acknowledged without differences. You're getting it? That even if the specifics, if you start talking about the specifics which you have given some identity, they may be impermanent. They come and move. But the whole universe, the energy, or this thing comes in science because science says matter cannot be created nor it be matter energy cannot be created nor it be destroyed. What they mean to say, the universal constant is there. Some consonance is there. So Shankaracharya is pointing towards that consonance. Advaita Vedanta is pointing towards that consonance, and it is saying that you are that consonance. You are the whole universe, because it's saying something like this. And along with it, it is saying that no. This thing. God is not some judge and stuff. Okay. It is denying. It is saying that the Brahman is Nirgun. It is saying that you cannot give shape to it. You cannot give the shape to the entirety. Can you give a definite shape? Because it is entire.
No.
How will you give shape to it? And if you give to it, will be a concept. You're getting it.
So it will be corrupted again, basically, if I give a shape.
Yeah. Still it got corrupted. It is human nature that any philosophy that will come will get corrupted. We cannot. That is why religion needs to get updated. And that's why at the beginning I said that I'm very sad that this is not happening now. Now we are crystallizing.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So it was Advaita Vedanta, then Vishista Advaita Vedanta. So what Vishista Advaita Vedanta says, no, Brahman is not Nirgun. Brahman is Sarva, which is in some way same thing, like infinity and minus infinities. It's saying Brahman is having all the attributes, all the qualities. Okay. And although non-duality is there is a specific kind of non-duality. Okay, what is that specific kind of non-duality? That our self which we have, the true nature of our self, is qualitatively same, okay, as the whole of universe. But it is quantitatively different. He is creating some boundaries, imaginary, for the sake that corruption goes away. It is my understanding. Okay, so the Vishista Advaita says that qualitatively it is same, but the quantitatively it is not. So there is some difference. Okay, and then their idea of Brahman is organic unity. They're saying the whole world is organic. You can see again very similar concept. The whole world is an organic unity, and that organicity you can call it as a Vishnu or God. Okay, we are part of that organic unity. Okay, so we have the same quality, but we don't have the same quantity of it. I think that is Vishista. Then people corrupted this also. Then came Madhav Acharya, and he gave a dualistic interpretation. He said that, you see, do you think we have self? Do you think this book is different from that book? And do you agree? And he said, people will say, yes, we agree. Okay, normal people at least say that. Then do you think that the Vedas, when they talk about the gods and stuff like that, mystical, do you think they are different and they are real? People will say, yeah, we think they are very different from us. We cannot be like them. We say, not only do you think that, it is that. You are very much different and God is a very independent thing somewhere. Now we are, so Atma can be various things depending upon which philosophies are you following. If you are following any non-dualistic philosophy, it is self. If you are following Madhvacharya, which I think India is following, okay, the Indian subcontinent is following, then you will say that it is akin to soul, and it is same as soul, because you have made it independent. Right now?
Yeah.
So how does Mahayana make it independent? He says that not only that the self that we have is quantitatively different, quantity is less, okay, it is even qualitatively. The quality is also different. Okay, so then how does the picture of salvation comes? He says when he decides, you will get it. He is controller, he is the judge. This is Madhvacharya. So even Upanishads can have multiple interpretations. Okay. These were the three interpretations of Upanishad. Now let's come to Buddhism. Then we will go to Zen, Tantra.
Sure. So one thing here I would like to ask you, Sumit, is that if this can have multiple interpretations, so do you feel that can a new philosophy come, or let's say new inquiry come, or new seeking of truth come, which can give a different dimension and also but talks about the same thing? Is it possible?
That should.
If
If the spirituality were not dead, like it has been dead for past 100 years, because no one is interested in inquiry and everybody is interested in blind faith, new philosophies definitely have come. It's not like that we did not have people who were not intelligent enough to create those new philosophies. In fact, there is one interpretation. Okay, so if you want to start a school of philosophy in India based on the Upanishads, you have to give commentaries on 3 texts. Okay, one is Bhagavad Gita, second are the principal Upanishads, and third is the Brahma Sutra. So anybody who gives interpretations on these things can start his new school. So I think there is some school in Gujarat which has given new interpretation in the previous 100 years. Whole commentary is there. They have their new interpretations. Okay. The process is not going. Acharya Prashant, I don't think he'll formalize, but he's giving it a new angle. He's giving it Yes, Osho has given it a new angle, but there is no formal establishment of any school that is doing such. I think that also needs to happen. Because what happens is when a formal establishment of school is giving this, okay. For example, Advaita Vedanta we talked about it. Okay. Puri Shankaracharya made the Advaita Vedanta. There was news about the current Shankaracharya of Puri. Okay, the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe and the people who are regarded as untouchables are very angry about this. His views are that the caste is actually based on birth.
Based on birth?
Yeah. So the priests based on birth, so that all the traditional and the stuff we have left behind. Okay. But and why, and even then I got to inquire about this thing. So what I can see is that the official posts that are there in the tradition, okay, the past that they had, they're still carrying it in some way or other. Okay. In order to eradicate it, we need to form a new school. And it is not like that we don't have stuff. Like, there is an Upanishad which Acharya Prashant talks about. Okay. It is the Vajra Suchika Upanishad, the diamond pointed needle Upanishad, which inquires upon the past. Okay. And there they clearly deny caste on birth, caste on even action and karma. Everything they deny. Okay. How do they deny? So they say is jati, or jati or varna your body. So they say, you will say no, yes, jati is our body, we are born with it. Okay, what we have. Okay. Then they propose this: if jati is your body, then whenever in the fire ritual when some Brahman is died, is the sun killing his? You're getting it. Is the sun killing the burning the body? What are you saying? Jati cannot be this. Then say, is jati your atma? They say atma is unborn. It was never born. How can it be jati? Systematically they deny all the things. And at the end they say this thing that, oh, now you get it. That this system is merely a frictional concept which had some utility. This they say in the Upanishad. That is there the line.
Very few people know about this.
Yeah, so that's why I say a formula. If I met Acharya Prashant someday, I'm going to ask him this question. You need to do this. You can only do this. You need to set up a formal school. Okay, so that at least the people who are very far from spirituality, who are going into the temples, and there is a reason that priesthood is important. Right now, there is a reason. So this will have a different view. Okay.
But in fact, Sumit, I have a curious question. Weren't the jatis and the varnas, they were invented by people after the Vedic era, or I mean in mid-Vedic era, if we talk about it, and Upanishads were written earlier or later?
The historic perspective is it was written after the Vedas.
Okay. So in that case, though, it can deny the jati system and the varna system.
But the Upanishad holds the highest priority.
That's exactly what I was feeling, right?
Yeah. If any Upanishad denies jati as merely a conceptual thing, okay, you can definitely form a school based on saying that it is merely a conceptual thing. Let's leave it now. You can do it.
Yeah.
The Vivekananda tradition, what it is doing? It is doing that only. I met the Vivekananda traditions sadhu, and actually I listened to lectures of Swami Sarvapriyananda. Wonderful book they are doing. The Vedanta Society of New York and the Vedanta Society of India. It basically stems from the Ramakrishna Mission and the Vivekananda Mission. Wonderful work there. They have given a new interpretation, which is the Neo Vedanta.
Yeah, Neo Vedanta, even I heard, but I haven't read about it.
Swami Vivekananda is the founder of it, you can say to it. So they are trying their best to do it. But I want it here. What I'm saying in the regional language, some priest. Okay. The saints have done it, like the Sant like the Kabir. Saints have done it, not the priest. Like you're getting, I'm talking about very
yes.
Yeah, so, the saints have done it.
What you're trying to say is Kabir, Nanak, they have done it, right?
Kabir, Nanak, Mirabai,
Dadu Dayal, Mirabai, these people.
These people have done it. Okay, these people have done it, but there is no official priest who has done.
Yeah.
Or even if he has done it, it is lost. The work is lost and stuff. Okay, I think that needs to be done.
Very valid point. In fact, that needs to be done. In fact, that should be inculcated, because see, whatever we talked so far, it is not something based upon faith. It is based upon inquiry and investigation, and that is the exact method which science follows. So, I mean, if we are trying to do it at a deeper level, then obviously it should be taught even before science, because it talks about finding your own self and then the outside reality. So wonderful. Yeah.
Eradication of suffering and finding your own self, finding who you are actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think this should be done. So we have completed 3, and those were of the Upanishad. Now coming to Buddhism, we talked about the 5 kandhas which the Buddhas talk about, or the 5 heaps. He said the self is made up of 5 heaps: form, volition, feelings, sensation, consciousness. And he says if you inquire each and every one of them, they are subject to doctrine of impermanence.
So that means he says that everything is dynamic, even these 5.
Even these 5. So he is not denying that there is a self with a small s. There is a difference of self with a small s and a capital S.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
I don't think people, but he's denying. He's saying that there is a self, the smallest, and there is no self. When he's saying no self, he's denying the capital S self. You can't find any permanence. But it has a soteriological. He is not giving it as a truth. Otherwise, why would he give inquiry?
Can we draw a parallel analogy in the quantum world with this? That okay, let's say there is a probability of finding an electron here, but we do not know for
we
sure.
We don't have to go even to quantum mechanics. Simple river will do.
Okay.
Simple river will do. When you go to the Ganga, is the water of the Ganga same every minute? Is it the same? Or it is all a dynamic thing? And yet you refer to it as a Ganga as if it is a constant thing.
Got it. Yeah. So cool. Yes.
Yeah. So the same thing. He's saying that these 5 aggregates are subject to impermanence and completely changing from time to time in this thing. But from a utilitarian point of view, we give it a name. Okay. Although if you start finding out that where is the self in this part, you will find it. So from a utilitarian point of view, it is all validated. You can say there is a self. Otherwise, how will the world work? All religion, all philosophies, all traditions depend upon this thing. Now,
yes.
But actually, it's not. Actually, if you start to inquire, if you say where is the Ganga river, is the water the Ganga river, are the rocks the Ganga river, you will not find river there, because you will see that the Ganga river is a concept in your mind. It is not anything other than that, and it has a utility. That's why you use it.
True.
Buddha is doing that thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there is a doctrine of impermanence in Buddhism, and there is, why is everything impermanent, you will ask? So he says, because there is a doctrine of, he says, dependent origination. What does it mean? Pratitya samutpa. That everything is subject to cause and effect, he says. So anything that is arising from a cause, so there is an interconnected link. Okay. And as soon as the cause is vanished, the entity will vanish. Okay. So because everything is subject to cause and effect, everything is dynamic. There is no constant. Are you
Got
getting the
it.
point?
Got it. Yes.
Everything is deeply interconnected. Okay, very, very deeply interconnected.
So that ultimately means that if we somehow change the cause, the reality would change again.
Not about we, the cause changes, what he calls this cause and effect, and the web of the cause and effect calls it Dhamma or Dharma. Dharma
Okay.
means law, holding everything together. The law of which everything is subject. You can call it Tao also. No, you can worship it, or people can worship people. You can worship it, but it is not in person. It is the law which is holding everything together. Okay. So everything is subject to cause and effect. Even the opposites are subject to cause and effect, right? So even contradictory things are interconnected through cause and effect. In the future, the Mahayana Buddhist refers to emptiness. Okay, they are being very specific of what kind of emptiness. What they are saying, that reality is independent of independent existence. There is no thing as an
This is
independent
very
existence.
complex. Yeah.
Okay, everything is subject to cause and effect. Okay.
True.
So everything is dependent upon each other.
Okay.
So if everything is dependent upon each other, can there be any independent thing which is apart from everything else?
No.
We can say reality is independent of independent existence.
Okay. I get it now.
It is a very specific kind of emptiness that they are having. Okay, when they are saying sarvam shunyam, everything is independent, empty, you can understand it positively as everything is interconnected so deeply, okay, that you won't find any independent existence anywhere.
Wow.
You can see again Shankara, again this almost same things in different words. And okay, you were saying some quotes, you can explain it. Okay.
Yeah, so I was asking you to explain that how even the contradictory things are dependent by the law of cause and effect. Yes.
We see, that is the point. We cannot arrive at the law. Okay, but we know there is a law. We know the reality is subject to cause and effect. Things are not happening randomly. If things were this they have analyzed. If things were happening randomly, okay, so why doesn't it regrow out from here? Okay, why is there another seed? Why there are some processes that need to be followed for some desired effect? Okay, there is cause and effect.
But how can you justify it? Let's say I mean, if we play the characters that okay, you are talking from the spiritual perspective, and if I come from the scientific domain, although you are obviously from scientific domain, but if I argue with science that hey, you are saying that everything is cause and effect, how can you attribute to this that okay, this moment I feel like eating an egg roll, and the very next moment I feel like maybe studying something? So how can you club it in the law of cause and effect? I mean, how will a scientific or a logical mind would believe, okay, I don't understand, but I see there is something? How would you make that person believe?
Okay, the thought is in some form an energy. Some form.
Yeah, unexplainable right now, yes, but yeah, it is a form of energy.
Even if you consider it as a materialistic thing, it is some state of the brain. Okay,
True.
even if you are being very materialistic, saying human beings are just brain, it is some state of the brain. Okay, now that state of brain is dependent on something else for acquiring that state. So now if it is going from one state to another, suppose it is interconnected through the brain, no, but it is happening in the brain, so it is interconnected through the brain. It is not apart from the brain. They are interconnected.
Now I get it. So basically, there is a medium underlying everything which is acting, and that medium is also changing.
The medium is also changing, but what does it mean is that there is no duality. What it is getting at, there are no two things, because everything is so deeply intertwined. Okay, that actually the duality is the primal ignorance in some way. in which we say that, oh, I am this body, I am Sumed and you are Partho, then immediately out of this ignorance we treat peoples like individuals and stuff. Many things are starting to happening. Okay, but as you inquire where is the boundary, you won't find any bound. Are you getting my point? So let's go to movies and stuff now. Okay, there is a movie Avatar Way of Water. Okay,
True.
The way of water, actually the way of water is like it's talking about Taoism, because the way is obvious reference to the Tao. If you see the script written for the Tao, okay, the meaning of the script comes out to be the way. Okay. And the Tao is compared to water and river. So Avatar, the way of water, there is a quote, very curious quote, which appears to be from Tao Te Ching only. Okay, or inspired at least. So they say, the way of water has no beginning and no end. The sea is around you and in you. The sea is your home before your birth and after your death. See how they connected this. So that obviously what they are saying is, now birth and death connected seems to be opposite state. Okay, but they are going even one step further. They are saying the sea is your home before your birth and even after your death.
How do you basically it is all the same. That's where we are getting at.
No, it's not. They are not denying the distinction, but they are interconnected. There is no identity which we will find. Okay, so it's not like saying that these things are all the same. Rather than it is saying like these things are deeply interconnected and they are one. See, because if
so
you
basically
say
there is no separation. That's what you mean to say, right?
Yeah. There is no separation. So in the Avatar, the way of water, Eva, the god in that word. Okay, it's very much inspired by Taoism and India. Okay, the whole movie is inspired by it. You see, now the god there is not the judge to the people. It is, and their rituals are like, after everyone dies, they go to the Eva, and everyone comes from Eva.
Yes.
Something like this interconnection they follow. So Buddhism is very high upon this interconnection. This is known as Pratitya Samutpad, and this Pratitya Samutpad, in anything which you think has an identity, if you analyze this identity, you will see that there is impermanence. As soon as you give boundaries to something, you will see what there is impermanence in that boundary, because and because of this impermanence, you will not find any self. Okay. So what Adi Shankaracharya is saying is the same thing. He's denying the self here, but he's saying that what about the whole then? In the whole there is some kind of consonance. Buddha is not talking about that consonance. He wants you to realize it. That is the difference. Okay. What about the whole? Okay, there is some consonance in the whole, right? And you are that consonance, he's saying. Therefore, you won't die. Therefore, rather than that's why one of the Zen koans says, the person comes to a Zen master and he says like, tell me what will happen after I die. Okay, so the person says, I will tell you exactly what happens after you die. Just you tell me what happens before where you were born, or where were you before you were born. Okay, so there are things like this. So this is Buddhism. These two theories are there, and so in Buddhism also there is Theravada Buddhism, Mahayana Buddhism, then Vajrayana Buddhism.
Yes. Those are different sects.
Those are sects. So Theravada Buddhism is like they didn't try to evolve much of the Buddha's doctrine. Okay, they wanted to keep the purity. Okay, but although they evolved it to some level, but nothing very much radical. For example, the Mahayana says there is sudden possibility of sudden enlightenment also. It is not gradual. Can happen suddenly. Some Zen koans are like that. I'll give you some examples. Okay. But the Theravada and the Buddha, even the Buddha, historical Buddha, not just gradual. There are steps to it. Okay. There are differences in this. But the doctrines they keep are the same. The doctrines of impermanence and the doctrines of Pratitya Samutpad. Okay. And the Theravada Buddhism inquire about the self, but do not inquire much about the world, because they say then it goes to the metaphysical level.
Okay.
But the Mahayana developed metaphysics. They say not only that there is no self, Okay, there is no identity to be found anywhere. What happened is, when Buddha gave his doctrine, okay, there is no one specific sutra where he laid it out and connected it himself. Rather than he gave test cases. You can say something like this. People came to him, asked him questions, and he gave answers, and these answers were recorded. Okay. Now the work of the first council or the followers of the Buddhas was to make a doctrine out of it. Okay. So these people, they said that Buddha talked at two levels of reality. He said he talked at the utilitarian level of reality, and he talked about an ultimate level of reality. Okay. And that ultimate level of reality was not subject to impermanence. That was permanent. And realizing that ultimate level of reality, you will get it. Then Mahayana comes. Okay. And it says that they do not give any identity to the ultimate reality. Basically, what happens to Theravada Buddhism, they give identity to the ultimate reality. Like they said, the Buddha said Panchaskandhas, so Panchaskandhas are really there. Nobody can deny it. So they set up some dogmatic axioms which they call dharma. Nagarjuna said, I'm not denying that there is dharma. I'm saying that you cannot say anything about that dharma. There is, okay. So the way he puts it is, the ultimate reality is that there is no ultimate reality. And the reason he gives is, you are saying there are two levels of reality. But because everything is subject to dependent origination, these two levels of reality should also interconnect. And if they interconnect, that is utilitarian. Okay. You are getting it? So he said, then what is the practical use? Why are you giving these things? Okay. He said that he is philosophizing the silence of the Buddha. That we will not talk about the truth in any positive way.
Yeah, even I felt that he's trying to give the silence a shape.
Yeah, silence a shape. He's very anti-establishment. Okay. And as it happens in the Upanishad, that the Upanishad denies what the earlier Vedas said, Nagarjuna comes in and he denies. He denies what? He denies four noble truths. Denies the Nirvana, denies the Buddha. People will say that, means if other people of the other religions, or if people read their own religion, you will say how radical the thinkers were. Right? Na? They denied the whole religion and celebrated in the Buddhism as second Buddha.
Yeah.
How much value does inquiry have? One should understand from these things. That if you were genuinely inquiring, it would be really beneficial. Right? Na?
Absolutely. In fact, that's how the scientific theories are also built, right? One goes away and standing on the shoulders of giants, basically.
Yep. So he denies the four noble truths and this and this. And then he says, what are you doing then? Why are you denying all this? I'm denying this, he says, as having some kind of identity or some kind of ultimate reality. I'm not denying this. So how it is it different from nihilism? Then if you say to Nagarjuna, Acha, so you are saying there is no self. He'll say no. Why no? Because self has a utilitarian. So Acha, you are saying there is a self. No, not in the way you understood. You suddenly you bring in your primal, you can say, you bring in your primal ignorance into this question, and you instantaneously form an identity of permanence and stuff. I will deny that also. So he denies every possibility in any question that you ask him. He'll deny everything about it. Suppose you will say there is a self, he will say no. Then the questioner will say, okay, you are meaning there is no self. And he'll say, no, I'm not meaning there is no self either. Then the questioner will say, Acha, you mean then there is a self and a no self? No, I'm not saying that either. And the fourth possibility is also denied. Okay. And the silent treatment is given. No positive statement about reality of what reality is made in Buddhism. Okay. Even in Zen, they won't give you. They want you to find out. The spirit of inquiry is kept. Keep on inquiring. We won't give you a positive answer. But we are not saying that the nihilistic perspective that nothing is there. Nagarjuna denies it. He says that and his school is called Mula Madhyama Karika. The fundamental verses of the middle way. Okay. This whole thing is given. He says to avoid the extremities of the world. The nihilista thing, nothing exists. Nothing at all. Nagarjuna denies it. And the eternalists say that everything means permanence is there. Okay. Nagarjuna is somewhere in the middle, denying it through dependence origination, through emptiness of independent things. Okay. Very complicated, right?
Yeah, in fact, I'm so amazed by these ideas that I'm quite sure that we are doing this on different topics as well, and also I will release this in parts. My agenda was to have a lot of questions in this one single podcast, but it is actually beneficial, and thanks a lot for going into that depth, because now we can actually separate this into parts. In one part, we can talk about different philosophies, inquiries, and how to investigate. Then we can go to other topics. So this is really brilliant and meaningful. Yeah, please go ahead. So I had a one curious question here before you say. Uh, so if this is the way, then why Buddha asked the common folks to take the middle ground or the middle path? What is the benefit? How he is trying to push towards what he is trying to say?
Buddha will try to avoid saying any mystical stuff. So when he says middle, he is meaning not to dual, non-dual. There are extremities.
Okay.
You can say one way of saying is that you transcend those extremities and you say you appear it and you go into non-duality. Buddha will avoid trying using this mystical language. So this is difference in choice of words. He will say the middle.
Okay.
He will say in exactly, but when exactly in the middle, it is something different from both of them. You cannot say that it has qualities of both. It has become something different now. Exactly in the middle, right?
Yeah.
Exactly in the middle, you can. So that's why. So Buddha is saying the middle way, not having any. Means he's saying, like when he teaches dharma, he's being. We were studying. We are going to the historical Buddha now. He's teaching the Buddha. He says, form attachment. Do not form an attachment to anything at all, not even to any rules. Then obviously people ask, even to your dharma, even to what you are saying. Yes, he says, if you attach yourself to my dharma, okay, it will cause you suffering. And he is very specific about what will cause attachment to his dharma. He says when people start arguing about that, the way I have understood the dharma is right and the way you have understood it is wrong. Very specific. He foresaw this. And he says that dharma is like a boat, okay, which will take you from this shore to that shore. Okay, it has some utility only up till you reach the other shore. As soon as you reach the other shore, don't do this thing. Don't take the boat on your head and start walking on the other shore. You have not understood it. At some point, you have to abandon.
That's a brilliant analogy to understand what Buddha is saying. By the way.
Yeah, everything. See, in spirituality, everything is utilitarian. Until this discussion, I think what point I want to make clear is the ultimate reality cannot be brought into words. Anything to we cannot say anything any positive statement about it. Okay, it is not to deny that there is no ultimate reality, right? We can get a feel about it. Okay, and every models you can start with Upanishads. You can start if you stick to their guts, like if you stick with their ration for inquiry and being open-minded. Okay, and then I don't think that there is any problem. You start with Buddhism, you start with Tantra, you start with yoga. Okay, read the text little bit. Okay, at least know the basics about these things. Go on with your own inquiry. You will not, you can say, you will not wither away in the way. Okay, which most people do. Okay, so this was the Buddhism. The Zen Buddhism, then how it is different than Zen Buddhism and Taoism, how it is different. See. Then the Mahayana Buddhism expanded in India and stuff. Then many good sutras were written like the Diamond Sutra and the Heart Sutra. Okay, you can read Osho's commentaries on both of them. Especially very, very, very short sutra. Like I am having Diamond Sutra right here. It is something of 7 pages. Okay. So what is Diamond Sutra? I will give some. So in the Vedas, you can read Upanishad. The Upanishad which is my favorite. It was favorite of Vivekananda as well. Was the Kantopada Upanishad. Okay,
Okay.
I had meetings with the death, very small Upanishad. Okay, very direct and very good story also.
Also, before you speak about it, can you tell for me as well as for the audience that where can we read the Upanishads, all the Upanishads? Is there a website or something which you are aware of, or we can simply purchase?
Rather than reading, I'll tell you the name of five people. Then you can look up to their work and commentaries upon it. Because otherwise you will misunderstand. But
Okay.
there will be condition. Okay, so I will give just the names like the Kantapad Upanishad you can read. Okay, very good Upanishad. The Nirvana Upanishad you can read. Anybody curious about the caste system can read the Vajra Suchika Upanishad, the diamond pointed needle Upanishad. Okay. Principal Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad you can read. I forgot Mandukya Upanishad. And rather than any book, I will say that Swami Sarva Priyanand, okay, has
Okay.
lectures on YouTube itself on the Mandukya Upanishad.
All
Okay,
right.
you can watch them because they will give you more knowledge, and he is a very good teacher. He starts from very basics. Okay, you can watch them rather than any book. I will advise you can watch his videos, Swami Sarva Priyanandan's videos on the this Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad. So for that you can do this. For the Buddhism, I am biased for Mahayana Buddhism because the texts are short. Okay, and the thing is like because this were transmitted orally, there is so much repetition. Okay,
Okay.
and it is it is written 2,500 years back. Okay, so and it is not written as a form of a theory. Like people say, people think that when you read this, you will get some theory. It is written in a form of dialects, like question and answer, question and answer. Different
Okay.
people answer that. So you won't form a definitive theory. Okay, so I am biased to some Mahayana texts like the. So see what happened. The Mahayana Buddhism has Prajna Parimita Sutras, which are like 80,000 verses. Okay, no need to read that. Then what did they did in the Nalanda University? Okay, when I think Nagarjuna was head of that university, he made he and his students made two what you can say summaries of that whole Prajna Parimita Sutra. The essence they tried to capture it. Okay, so that essence was captured first in the Diamond Sutra. Okay, the name of the sutra is the perfection of wisdom which cuts like the diamond. Okay. Here also you won't find talks about chakras and you won't find these things. This is the essence you won't. This is the book you won't find. Even they begin with the concept of no self, and somewhere along the line they say like, you know the story that was made. I'll give a brief about the Diamond Sutra. Just one statement. Okay. You know the story that was made in Buddhism, like the Buddha possessed some 32 marks on his body, and from that marks on the body, you can recognize that he will become Buddha. Okay. Good story for catching interest, but but people understand different things through it, and it is not very much clear in the Theravada. But if you have some intelligence, you will say, oh, here he is telling a story to pique my interest into it. It must have some symbolism. You should always think in that way. You should not take it in historic ways. So in the Diamond Sutra, Buddha denies it. How does it deny it? A monk is there known as Subhuti. Okay. Then to that monk, the Buddha asks, can the Buddha be seen by possession of his marks? Can you recognize a Buddha by possession of his marks? Okay, the Buddha asks to Subhuti. And Subhuti says, no, indeed, O Lord, no. Okay. Then the Buddha says, what has been taught by the Buddha as possession of marks is truly a no possession of no marks. These are not some puzzles. What this simply means is what has been taught by Buddha as the possession of marks was just a utilitarian thing to trap you into getting you into work for getting rid of your suffering.
Yeah, so basically, I can remember Osho saying this very beautifully, is that okay, if I'm doing something to call you to my window, it's just to make you listen to me first. It might be a story, it might be a very fascinating story. So that's exactly what you are trying to convey, if I'm not wrong.
Marketing is there. Marketing
Exactly.
cannot avoid.
Yes.
Yeah, so marketing is there, right? But what is said in the marketing, you don't have to take it seriously, right? Yeah. So these things. So then moving to like apart from this, there is tantras. Then the tantras are like the first thing when they talk about the chakras, and they are much into meditations and the experiences you get from meditations and stuff and stuff and stuff. Are you getting it? And they very beautifully symbolize it all. But the people are then caught into symbols when they want to activate their chakras. The Osho had very one good thing. He said, लोग मेरे पास आ जाते हैं जिनको सारे चक्रास जो है वो एक्टिवेट करना है, सारे चक्रा को ये करना है. हाँ, क्या करोगे सारे चक्रास को? फिर ओशो से क्या करोगे सारे चक्रास को एक्टिवेट करके? घन चक्कर बन जाओगे क्या?
Okay.
घन चक्कर बन जाओगे क्या? Symbolic. Please understand, symbolic. It is symbolic. Okay. On the level of body, they say the identity of the cell, which you are most identified with. You can say the lowest is the sex center, that we are most identified from our sex or the body. Okay. Then you move away from that chakra. You think you are the body and you are the body. Okay. And after you move away from that chakra that you are the body, you are the sex, okay, something like that, then you go to a higher chakra. Okay. The where the chakra is represents
it's like the energy orbits, if we can draw an analogy.
I will not use the term energy. It is psychological state of the mind in which you identify yourself most as. Like people are see, if someone is decorated, I'm not going to act like this, but if someone is very much attached to his body, okay, he would decorate his body very much. He would be proud of his body. You get there is some level of deep attachment between him and his body.
True.
Then we will say that his sex center is active. So that is the Mooladhara chakra. Then you see people are not caring about what they wear, like tribal people and stuff. Okay, they are very much into the emotions. And you will say their heart chakra is active. They are attached to their emotions. They have a non-attachment to their body on some level. Okay, so what is this thing? Is like from one chakra to another chakra. What does activating the chakra means and going from one to another chakra is that getting out of the chakra of the chakra. Getting out of the chakra of the body, you go to the higher chakra. Getting out of the chakra of that also, you go to the higher chakra. And you see there are 7 chakras. The 6 are on the body and the 7th is above the body. So getting out of the 6 chakras, you see the ultimate thing. Getting it, experiential. It is not on the body. What it is saying that they have not given it on the scale, right? To represent that it is beyond something. Okay, so Tantra is like that.
So basically, all those animations are, we can say in a way, rubbish, right? That a man sitting in...
No, they are not rubbish. They are totalitarian.
Okay.
They are representative of a psychological state. Okay. They also convey a very good meaning. You see these chakras and you see these chakras are interconnected somehow. You see, ultimately you see that somehow lust becomes love. Love becomes something else. It changes in the state of the same energy. You're getting from sex to super consciousness. You can read the book.
Very famous
book. Okay.
Yes.
So this is about the chakras only. Okay. The tantras are about the chakra. In tantras also there are the Buddhist tantras and there. And I mind you that tantras tend to get very much mystified, very much corrupted. Very much scope of their misunderstanding because it has been developed by artists with very specific symbols, and once you go out of that specific symbols, the whole thing collapses. Then you're getting the point, I think.
Yes, exactly.
They are representative of some psychological state. They are representative of and very beautiful art is there. So we have gotten to Upanishad, we have gotten to the Buddhism, we have gotten to the Tantras. And for yogas, the best thing is you can read Patanjali Yoga Sutras, and soon you will come to find out that in the first word itself, he says that sit in asana which is you are comfortable in. It does not have to do with staying long in some form of asanas. We'll get it.
Okay.
Yeah, the asanas were invented much later. Yeah, Patanjali
Yeah.
is simply sit in the asana which you are most comfortable in. When I talk about meditation, now I'll explain these things, why these things are said. Now you see that if someone is able to do hatha yogas, what 112 kind of hatha yogas, oh, he has some very much healthy you are. I won't deny. Flexibility is there. I won't deny. Okay. Are you spiritual? No, I don't think so. What? I don't think so. Without that inquiry, you cannot be spiritual. Okay, and then there is the fourth thing, which is the bhakti,
Yeah.
right? So this also is a very big topic, and it is apart from the inquiring part. It is apart from the inquiring
Inquiring.
part. Yeah. What does it say is, and it has like it is like the best thing about bhakti which you can read is okay. The thing of the Khalil Gibran's poem. Khalil Gibran has
Okay.
written a very wonderful book known as The Prophet. It is actually like, in my view, it is like a modern Upanishad. In my view, it is like
It's a
that.
very thin book, if I'm not wrong, right?
But he perfected that book for 12 years. Did you know that?
Wow.
12 he perfected writing that book. Like Mona Lisa was painted for 12 years.
Yes.
Same way. 12 years is not a short time. Very
Obviously.
good book. Very, very good book, right? So in the second chapter is Khalil Gibran talks about love. Okay. And there he explains, well, like I cannot talk about the Bhakti Marg because what I'll talk about, it is all about experience and stuff. But some things I can make clear is along the very simplistic terms. The Bhakti Marg is when you are more into giving rather than taking. Okay.
Okay.
What are you trying to do in the Bhakti Marg or in the way of love? You have to start with love only. See, we already established that you cannot take responsibility of someone else's happiness or someone else's eradication of suffering. Can you? Even Buddha cannot. Right? In Bhakti Marg, you say, no, I'll take the responsibility of eradicating your suffering in some way. I'll keep you in a state where you don't have to suffer. Okay. Even though I'll suffer, even though I'll burn out, even though that means to talk about the bhakti is very courageous people can do it. You know, believing in something is not bhakti. First of all, believing in God and you go and you pray. It's not bhakti. Bhakti is a very intense process. You can say there is a quote from Osho. भक्ति करने के लिए तो पागल होने की हिम्मत चाहिए करके. Yeah, even if you see the stories of the saints, how mad they were in their quest, okay, you will see that it is not something that bhakti is like you ask for something to the God and he gives you. It is rather you take away everything from me, but I have taken the responsibility of eradicating your suffering and stuff. I'll still be there for you. Do whatever you want to do. That will be the consequence of it.
So who is that other person for whom I am taking the responsibility?
You can start with one person.
Okay.
For one person, get into a deep level where you don't find yourself as too different with them or too other with them. But if you stop there, then you stop at a family. A good family, you stop at them. Okay. When you expand it to everybody, then you have reached the goal in bhakti. You're getting the point. You start with one person. For one person, you come as like you are exactly one. If she is hurt, I am hurt. If I am hurt, she is not hurt. You have to think like that. Okay. So that is bhakti. Very means if you are not into inquiry, if you are into, but that is the thing about it also. Now, it is so natural. If it happens, it happens. There is no way of it. You are getting it.
So that can we say that bhakti and inquiry are different? Or if we talk about Kabir, then Kabir is pretty much into inquiry, but from a different perspective. What I understand about Kabir, that's my opinion. If I read the couplets and all.
You go into one thing deeply, you will surely reach the other. You go into inquiry, bhakti will emerge in you. That is what Buddha said. If you go truly into faith, inquiry will emerge into you. Some form of inquiry will emerge into you. Maybe you will not read the Upanishads, but maybe you are very much versed in the words of saints, which are no less. Getting the point? Huh? Maybe if you go, so this is the thing about spirituality. If you go deeply into one aspect, second will automatically emerge. That is the one thing. If you go into the bhakti, okay, meditation and philosophy will automatically emerge. If you go into philosophy and meditation, love will automatically emerge.
So open-ended roads these are, right? So I mean, you enter from either ways and you'll meet the other end.
Yeah. Why is the reason when you go into meditation, into philosophy, you are actually countering your ego. You are saying that there is no self. You're trying to establish that. There is no self. There is no self. You then start seeing no difference between yourself and the other. So you start treating others as they were you.
Wow.
You as they are. So automatically love comes in.
Wonderful. Right? Yes. Yes.
And go through the way of love that I want to love someone for his happiness only. Somewhere along the line, your ego gets shattered. Then you realize, oh, what I am experiencing is not others what they are experiencing. Then inquiry begins. What has happened to me?
Wonderful. Yes.
Why am I? So they are connected, but depth is important. The thing is that how deep you go.
Absolutely, absolutely. This was a brilliant example. Exactly, this made it pretty clear now that how the roads are basically the same.
I have experience from both of the roads. So from the Bhakti road, if I can talk about, there was one day or there was some day that I was being so grateful and I didn't know what I'm being grateful for. Such bliss showering, an undeniable bliss, because if it were for 1 hour or 2 hours, I'll say okay. For 3 days, for 4 days, I am very ecstatic. Like everything is wonderful. Okay, and you see, even in that hour within 1 second, hour within, I'm thinking about that I'm feeling very much grateful, but I'm not knowing what I'm grateful for. The inquiry is starting. What am I grateful for? Is this God? But I'm inquiring. You getting?
Yes.
Yeah. He is so blissful that unreasonably blissful. You will feel. So, okay. And you say, oh my God, you are inquiring. Means you start inquiring then, because suddenly you cannot like, this is possible. You're getting it. If this happens, they are both interconnected. Spirituality is all about interconnections, and the thing about saying that there is a self like this and there is no self like this, to say everything is deeply interconnected. Even the karma is something like that. That's what I'm saying. You do something in past life, it happens. Okay, past life and this are utilitarian concept, but if cause and effect are responsible for everything, surely what is happening right now must have a cause in the past.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that is karma. There is nothing other than this, which is karma. And
awesome.
that is rebirth also. So to do about the bhakti or the way of love, okay, you don't have to do it blindly. There also you have to see. First thing is like we said that love happens to us. Okay, then the spheres, or if you analyze it, you will say that it is not love that is happening to you. It is some form of attraction. Okay, the Tantra is high on this. Tantra is high on first lust happens, attraction happens, and then you have to do some shraman to convert it into love. Something has to happen fundamentally different to convert it into love. Okay, but it is not something else. Means it is that the lust, because the best book to know about love, incidentally, for me was From Sex to Superconsciousness.
Yeah.
What did he put in that book is? He says that first of all, he says that sex is a natural thing. Okay, and it gives birth to life, so it is not an unholy thing as religion has made it.
True.
Cannot be
Yes.
unholy thing because it is giving birth to life. What else is giving birth to life? His argument is that if God has decided that the act of intercourse will only produce a new life, then who are we to say that it is unholy process?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the fundamental argument about it.
But I think it is just a marketing trick, because again he does not believe in the identity of God. I guess uh, the author himself does not believe in the identity, right?
Now, non-duality you can establish in two ways. One
Hmm.
way is you being consistently showing that things are interconnected, this and this and that, but it becomes very dry then. Where are the jokes and where is the interest?
Hmm.
The second way is, and ultimately you want to deny, you can say anything about this ultimate reality. So why start with doctrines and why hold on to doctrines then?
Hmm.
Why not start with contradictions and showing circular logic itself? So Osho does that. From one thing he will jump to other. But it is not like he's doing this without a goal, or he's just saying whatever he wants to say. Okay. Like I said, Khalil Gibran, for 12 years he wrote it. Osho used to perfect his speech. You can see it in writing. He will not admit. He will say, for the marketing point of view, that right now whatever I'm saying, it was not written somewhere. But when people started after his death, started taking out his stuff, and people say everything was written. Everything he first wrote, he first perfected that speech. Okay, then he said.
Oh wow. Okay.
Okay. And how much he said? Oh my God! Like
Yeah.
all this I
Nobody.
know because all this this is Zen, Buddha, Tantra. People listen to. We can go to that topic later, but I'll go to it in meditation. But one thing is like people today listen to Osho only for marketing things. You don't listen to his whole discourses or whole commentaries. This all things which I've said is there in his commentaries. Even more is there because I have not listened to all of them. Even two or three are enough. Like on Upanishads, if you read one, you get the point. On Zen, you read one, you get the point. On yoga, you read one, you get the point. Okay. First ignorance that we can have about this topic is that it is completely natural. That you don't have to learn it. If it happens, it happens. If it does not happen, it does not happen. You are not made for it. Not true. You have to learn it. You have to learn. You have to learn how to love. You don't know how to love. Sad truth. If the reality were like the people were loving and stuff, universe, earth would be so good, right now.
Yeah. So I have a very curious question to what you said. So if we compare this with Buddhist philosophy, when Buddha says that okay, we can change the cause and effect thing, and we can change our destiny. So when you say that somebody is not meant for love, can we not apply that same logic and rule to change our mindset? Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The traditional belief is that someone is made for love and someone is not made for love, and as if it is something akasmic, getting that you
Exactly.
cannot
Yes.
learn. It's not a learnable skill. Although I will not call it skill, it is not a learnable thing. But the thing is that it is exactly the opposite. All the great people who are involved in this business have learned it from someone. In fact, it is in the, you can say, in the vicinity of some great masters where the people have learned these things. That so you cannot, again, love is like truth. You cannot pinpoint a perfect definition to it. Okay. But there are certain parameters which you can follow in the beginning until you feel that you are loving or you have reached somewhere. Then you can deny. But there should be some beginning point, right? So for the sake of learning, we have to assume. So what should be our assumptions, or which are the books which are the best for knowing that assumptions, right? So I said that Khalil Gibran's On Love is the best thing. So this is the Prophet, okay. This is the book The Prophet from Khalil Gibran, and this is the chapter 2. Okay. So it is thing like, when do you know when you are in love? Okay. Okay. So this goes on like this. So the poem goes on like this, that when love beckons to you, follow him, though his ways are hard and steep. And when his wings enfold to you, yield to him, though the sword hidden among his pinions may wound you. And when he speaks to you, believe in him, though his voice may shatter your dreams as the north wind lays waste the garden. Okay. So there is something about commitment in a relationship or love or something like this, which directly strikes your ego. Yeah, you're hurt by your lover, you feel very sad. Directly striking your ego. If someone you like and someone you love says you are ugly, where does it hit? On the very idea of self it hits. On the very primal ignorance it hits. Okay, you may know nothing about it, but it hits there only. On the very identity of yourself it hits. That's why the way of love is very, means it is, if you can learn it, it is very good. So what does he say? That when love beckons to you, follow it. So when love happens to you, don't be afraid of the consequences of it. Go for it. This is the first statement. It may be maddening, it may make you mad, but you have to take the risk. Not that it will actually make you mad, but people will think you are mad. But you have to take the risk, like Mirabai has taken the risk.
Yes.
Mirabai was a princess of a palace.
True.
And declaring herself a disciple of a of a Shudra. The Vedas was not a Brahmin, he was Shudra. So a Rajkumari is touching the foot of a Shudra. People will say you are mad. Maddening is
exactly.
Yeah. But so it is for very courageous people. We often associate love with weakness. I do not think it is possible. You cannot be weak and be loving. You have to be very courageous. It is a thing of courage, of adventure.
Absolutely.
Yes. You can be kind and caring, but not loving. You can be kind and caring and weak, but not loving and weak. It does not go together. You have to be very courageous, very strong. The first line also, the Khalil Gibran knows this. No one will take this path. I think what we said earlier, the people said is akasmic, is just because of this reason that people are not willing to take the risk. You have to be somewhat of a juwal. You're getting now. You have to take the risk. So when it will call you, you have to follow it. That is the only condition. Okay. And though his ways are hard and stiff, because when you will call upon it, you can go through planning. Okay. But somewhere along the line, your ego is bound to it. If you are not playing any games, if you are not having any face, if you are not having any ill intentions, you are getting it. Somewhere along the line, it is going to hurt. So this is what he's saying. Those his ways are hard and stiff. Even though the ways seem hard and stiff, you have to follow. Okay. When his wings unfold to you, yield to him. Okay. And when you see that, the wings of love are unfolding into you, you also hug back. Okay. But there is a catch here. Though the sword hidden among his pinions may wound you. So you see the feathers of eagle are very sharp. They are not soft. So the pinions is saying the feathers. And when he'll hold you, he'll not just hug you. He'll cut you also.
Yes.
That is the thing. Okay.
This is so beautiful actually. Yes.
And when he speaks to you, believe in him. So whatever the love, when love reveals truth to you, you have to believe in it. If it is hurting your ego, if you are getting to no, there is still a self within you which is not loving. You are trying to love, but you have not achieved love. It will shatter you. So itna to try kar raha ho yaar. Itna to try kar raha ho. That is in the next line. When he speaks to you, believe in him. Because there is no, it hurts. That's what I say. When you are in love, if anything wrong happens, if you take any misstep, it directly hurts your ego. Okay.
True.
And you know it hurts your ego. You know the truth about it, but you choose not to believe it. That's in this line. That is said in this line that when he speaks to you, believe in him, though his voice may shatter your dreams, as the north wind lays waste the garden. All the stories that you will accumulate to defend yourself, they defend the ego. It will shatter it. You have to believe in it. Very courageous thing, not for weak people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very.
So next line is the most beautiful line. I think there are 2-3 lines. See. For even as love crowns you, so shall he crucify you.
Yeah.
Okay, it will crown you.
True. Yes.
Okay, it will crown you, it will crucify. The falsity of you it will crucify. the falsity of you, it will crucify, and the crowning will be that what you actually are without the ignorance and stuff. Okay, that it will crown. So even as he is for your growth, so he is for your pruning. Like if you want to make a tree big, if you want to make a plant very big, to grow into a tree, you have to prune it. So the lower branches you have to cut it down. But for what? So that it grows up.
Yes.
Same thing. Okay. So even as he ascends to your height and caresses your tenderest branches that quiver you in the sun, so shall he descend into your roots and shake them in their clinging to earth. This is the idea is very same. You are bound to get hurt. You are bound to get destroyed. Don't be afraid. When it calls for you, when it comes to you, go to it. Now, Khalil Gibran will go to the philosophical point of view where he will compare ego as a pawn. He will say that, though it will not explicitly said, but it has to be understood that he will say that self is like a pawn. Okay, the small self. Okay, the self with the small s is like a pawn. The false self or the ego is like a pawn. Okay, so he said you will go on to love as pawns. Okay, so he says in lines like sheaves of corn, he gathers you unto himself. Okay, so love will gather you, and you will come as pawns to him, like sheaves of corns. Okay, then what will love do to you? Then he threshes you and makes you naked. Threshing is the process of removing the cover. So all the falsity you have, it will destroy. You have to go naked. You have to go with the courage of getting hurt. He will say it in the next line. Okay, you have to have that courage. If you want to improve, you have to. So in the Buddhism also, you will say now in Buddhism there is this thing. If you meet a Buddha on the road, kill him. Your mind, if you meet, because it is the image of the Buddha which you will meet. Not the actual Buddha. You have to, if you want to progress, you have to be naked. So naked, not literally being naked.
Obviously, yes.
Figuratively, you don't have to have any shells and coverings and this stuff. And this we see devoid of in relationships. People when pursue always with a face, and then the true face is revealed and it is then destroyed. Okay. It is not saying that completely, but you should know that when you have a shield or not, when to put or not. You are getting the point. You have to go naked. So first thing what love will do is, he threshes you to make you naked. Okay. Threshing, I think threshing was the process of removing the dust. Okay. He slits you to free from your husk. The same thing. Then he grinds you to your whiteness. Now see, the boundaries are being broken. He's grinding you, making you into a dough. Right? Yeah. And then he kneads you until you are pliant. Kneading is the process of that thing only.
Yes. Gudna
basically. So what it's saying that when people come to love, when two people come to love, they come as separate individual pawns. Then love makes them naked. It slowly disappear, makes two pawns realize that they are the same thing. Something like this. The analogy is like this.
Wonderful metaphor, by the way. Yeah.
It's of Khalil Gibran, not of mine.
No, obviously. I mean, yeah. Yes.
And then he assigns to you his sacred fire that you may become the sacred bird for God's sacred feast. Ultimately, all boundaries between you and the person will diminish. The fire is the thing of that. It diminishes all the boundaries. Okay. All these things shall love and do unto you that you may know the secret of your heart, and in that knowledge become a fragment of life's heart. So only this is needed. If you allow love to do its things to you, and you can easily deny it, you can easily put on shields and not let love work on you. Okay. But if you are courageous enough that you remove your shield, it's like an operation. When you operate, if someone who doesn't know about operation, or if you are not taking anesthesia, how will you feel about an operation? They are cutting your leg, but they are doing it for a good cause. So it's like an operation. You have to go through tremendous suffering, very contradictorily, to find that
bliss, basically. Yes.
Yeah. So he's saying all these things shall love do unto you that you may know the secrets of your heart, and in that knowledge become a fragments of life heart. Okay. The next line is very good line for the people who do not want to walk in this path, or will never walk in this path. Never will they reveal their true face to the people. Okay. Very saddening lines and very impactful also. Okay. But if in your fear, you would seek love for only its peace and its pleasure. But if in your fear, you would not seek that, oh, acha, I have to burn in order to find peace. No, no, I'll directly find peace. I'll directly find pleasure. Very short term, you're getting it. So if you, in your fear, you will avoid this. Okay, you will avoid this going through the fire and stuff. Okay, then it is better for you that you cover your nakedness and pass out of love stretching forward. Okay, so he advises, but with consequences he advises. Okay, he says then it is better for you that no, you keep your shelves, pass out of them. Don't be in this flow, in your fear. Okay, into a seasonless world. So where you will go then again? You will go into a seasonless world where you shall laugh, but not all your laughter, and you shall cry, but not all of your tears. You
Very
will become,
deep.
yeah, you will become a fake person, and you will know it, and it will be cause of your tremendous suffering. You will laugh, but never it will be a real laughter. And you
It's a
will,
wonderful summary of all the philosophies I can see, or all the inquiries. Yeah.
and the deeper point is that again, when he's saying you will laugh, but not for all your laughter, you will be pleasing the society without being yourself. So again, you are doing for someone else only, but no, you are being constant that I don't want to.
Yeah.
The thing is that you are changing, but you are not realizing it.
Yes, absolutely. And that is exactly why I think it is said that if you are in love, which is the naked form of love, if I say, then you get closer to seeking the truth.
Yeah.
Or the ultimate reality.
Absolutely no distinction about this.
Yeah.
So I have been through both ways. I have inquired on both the ways. Okay. In fact, any true seeker that I have met has inquired on both the ways. It is not possible that you start from here and you do not end up. For example, people who are into science and they eventually come into a humanist point of understanding of philosophy.
Exactly.
On the way, yeah, they will not deny free will. Curiously, scientists do not deny free will. There is a very small percentage, only 10% of scientists deny free will. The rest of the scientists are compatibilists. What they say is that somehow, mystically, magically, free will and cause and effect is compatible. Although they will not use mysteriously and magically, but they say they are compatible, we just don't know it. So it is their way of saying that it is mystical and magical. They are not denying it.
Exactly. Even Einstein has said it in multiple quotes that mathematics is basically nature dancing naked, things like that. So, I mean, his view of the world was also towards the end when he was about to leave for the heavenly abode. He was into these domains. He was finding and researching on quantum gravity and things like that. So in his personal notebooks, he wrote that it is mainly seeking the ultimate reality, what it is. So yeah.
So it is not like you, if you want to go on the way of love, don't go blindly. You have to learn it. The best way of learning is you can read like Patanjali from Tagore.
Beautiful work, by the way. Yes.
Again, you have to understand it. If you want a direct approach that what it is and it is not, Khalil Gibran's poem is the best. I have not completed the whole poem, but I have given the main points. Okay. You have to be, as somewhere it also thought it is not a good thing. You have to be a nice guy. But people associate of you being a nice guy as not being manly, or being less courageous, or being nice for the sake of being nice, like as if it is for your nature. Okay. What it is saying that have no shield is do what you really wanted to, have no face about it, and then when you bring as you come as you are, then you change. Are you getting the point?
Awesome. Yes.
It is not about it is tremendously courageous to drop all the mask. See, you can learn a behavior of kindness. You can learn a behavior when you say, no, I'm kind and this and this. And when you come back to home, you're fighting with your mom. It's not being kind, absolutely. Right? There's so much contradiction. You're just being weak there. Okay. Your true face you don't want to show in the hostel or where the competition comes. Okay, so this is a thing about courage. It is not to be understood with weakness. You have to be the nice guy, not in the sense that you have to not be courageous. You have to be the nice guy in the sense that you go as you are, not with any moral obligation. You go as you are. Okay, and once you go as you are, don't stay as you are, burn and change. Otherwise, the bad boys or they go as they are, but they are very resilient to change themselves.
Yeah, true. Wonderful learning, by the way. Yes, of course. It would greatly benefit the present youth, or let's call it the Gen Z, right? Who is into hookups and breakups and breakup party songs, even a lot of these things. That is an altogether different topic, I understand. But
yeah, Kunal Kamble did a podcast with someone, and I don't think someone other than the YouTube which I saw has invited Kunal Kamble for a podcast, so you can check it out. Who has invited Kunal Kamble, very young people. So there he has said this thing that the intentions are not made very clear while forming the relationships. You are always going with the face and you want something else. Don't do this. Not I am judging you that this is wrong and that is wrong. What I am judging is you are not making your intentions clear. Make it clear from the very beginning. So you say, but then there is way. If you make your intentions clear, there is a way. You have to stick to it. That is that. It will be a long way, but at least your intentions are clear. You're going as you are. You're getting the point, I think, what I'm saying.
Exactly.
That will solve the problem of this. If you don't play games over there, you're getting.
True.
At least the ultimate intention you should make clear, and rest of the thing you can play the games while saying that they are games here and there. This has to be done. This. Okay, I think you're getting the point. Okay.
Absolutely. And coming from someone who is living in the contemporary times, and in fact, these things normally we hear from people who have crossed a certain age bar. But coming from you, it holds a lot of value. In fact, the complete discussion which we did, most of the things obviously you did. I was just being a good, obedient student, right? So seriously, it's an honor to be a student in this kind of discussion. I really learned a lot. It's more than meaningful. I am short of words to put it in words. In fact, our audience would agree for that. Yeah.
So in the next part, what we will do is we will define first of all what is science or the scientific methodology, and how can we approximate the scientific methodology into investigation of the inner mind, okay, or the inner strength. Okay, because scientific method cannot be used for investigation of the mind. That we will clarify that, and we will see the birth of meditation and the techniques and what is the goal of meditation, and the other things that I had an experience that I was in the other world where meditation. What to make of it? What to make of your experiences? While you have in meditations? Okay, we will talk about great length about this, and other than that, I will talk about 2 beginner-friendly methods, at least one beginner-friendly method of meditation. Okay, and the other one is my personal favorite. So I'll talk about these 2 methods. Okay, we'll talk about science and how to connect and how this is the inquiry. So I think
definitely. On that note, I would like to tell our audience, whatever you listened in this podcast, this was just the tip of the iceberg. In the mail, he mentioned that his favorite thing would be to talk about meditation. We haven't still reached there, so you can imagine that how beautiful it is going to be. So brilliant conversation. I mean, this is so fruitful. Thanks a lot for your time. It really matters, and the times when we are looking at different short videos, reels, this kind of meaningful, in-depth conversation was the need of the hour, I feel, and thanks a lot. I cannot thank you enough for this. So thank you so much.
I will extend the thanks to you as well, because first time someone has given me the opportunity to talk about this.
It's all my pleasure. I know how in-depth a thinker you are, and it's all my pleasure to be connected and at least learn from you. I know it's a mutual learning from both the sides, but again, on a larger perspective of things, these things you know way better than me. And thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for podcast. Final things you would like to say to our audience? Anything to wrap up? Just a quick summary.
When you talk about mysticism and spirituality, you are concerned with suffering and how to eradicate suffering. What else have we talked about?
That is exactly. Yeah. That is the lesson we should draw. Exactly. Yes.
So, but I know I will talk in the next video from my experience that this is very dry statement, right? Very dry. You won't be interested in it. So it is fine to get interested by different things and come into it. But once you come into it and inquire these realities about it, don't avoid this, because the marketing was done for you to get here, not to stay there. You're getting the point.
I understand. Yes.
That is my only advice. Okay.
Wonderful, Sumit, and I wish to see you, and all of us wish to see you as a great spiritual teacher going ahead. Although you might do something else in your professional life, that is a completely separate thing. But again, we would definitely love people like you to come ahead and put your voice where the world is very chaotic. We are living in a fast-paced world, and these things are very much required in order to have a peaceful death, I would say, if not anything else. So wonderful. Yeah. Okay.
Peaceful life as well.
Yes, peaceful life as well. Yeah. Cool. Thank you, Sumit. See you again on the next podcast. Yeah.